Hi, I am with Veronica Belmont today.
Hi.
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 How's Orlando?
It was
How
Orlando-esque. I got
was
bit by
it?
a lot of
Just
bugs, yeah.
just Orlando-esque.
No, I didn't
Not
get to do anything fun this time. I didn't have a
no.
chance to get to the parks, so I was just in the convention the whole time. But it was great. I met a lot of great people. Met some Sword and Laser fans. It
Oh,
was it
really?
was good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, you
absolutely.
mean are they people who have
I actually
purchased
signed an
anthology?
anthology
Did you really? Oh, that's
at
awesome.
IBM Innovate. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, let's do a show. We ready?
All right. I'm ready.
When you want to support independent projects and artists and creativity, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com.
This is the Daily Tech News for June 5th, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, my co-host from Sword and Laser and woman about the internet, Veronica Belmont.
Hello.
How's it going? You're
Good.
just
I
back
like
from
that title.
Florida.
I am
Woman
back
about
from
the
Florida.
internet. You like that?
I do. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, it's yours. You can take that. It's free. No, we got some good stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the Xbox updates, how it has improved the ability for developers to make better graphics, but won't improve your gameplay right away. And I hooked up my controller to my Windows machine. I'm actually really excited about that.
Oh, nice.
But first, the headlines. TechCrunch reports Google has admitted its Project Tango tablet exists, and it'll make it available to developers in late June, probably around Google I/O, I'm guessing, for $1,024. Project Tango is a 3D sensing system previously shown by Google in a smartphone. They did admit that. They made 200 of those. It uses 2 cameras and a rear depth sensor to do its 3D modeling. The tablet carries these cameras, as well as an NVIDIA Tegra K1 processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, 1080p display, stock Android 4.4, and your Wi-Fi's, your Bluetooth LE, your 4G LTE. If you're interested, you'll need to sign up. Go to google.com/ATAP/Project Tango as the developer kits as the developer kits these tablets are a part of will be available in limited quantities is what I'm trying to say.
Talking's hard sometimes.
Yeah, they don't have many.
All right, TechCrunch is also reporting that the dating app Tinder is launching something called Moments, allowing people who have been matched to share temporary messages, including photos, which only exist for 24 hours. A little Snapchat-esque. Users can choose to like or dislike a photo and strike up a conversation based on it. What could possibly go wrong?
I don't see any way that will ever cause a problem.
Nope.
ZDNet reports Microsoft is making its Kinect for Windows V2 available for pre-order today. This is the latest version. Today's June 5th, if you're listening to it later. So $199 through the Microsoft Store gets you the sensor to be shipped around July 15th, along with the release of the accompanying software development kit. Developers can build applications for the new sensor in C++, C#, or Visual Studio Basic by using Microsoft's Visual Studio 2010. General availability of the Kinect for Windows that we're talking about here for non-developers will come a few months after July.
And as briefly mentioned earlier, TechCrunch is reporting that drivers are out that let you use your Xbox One controller for Windows. The drivers will come to everyone in a future Windows update, meaning the anxious can get the drivers from meanwhile, the anxious can get those drivers from MajorNelson.com. Just be advised that the Windows Smart Screen system doesn't recognize them yet, so you'll need to trust Major Nelson to override and install them. Also, don't forget they only work when connected via USB, micro USB, I believe.
Yep. Well, if you use the charging cable that came, it should work. CNBC, if you got a charging cable. CNBC reports Verizon has sent a cease and desist letter to Netflix over that buffering message we mentioned yesterday. Netflix displays a buffering message when you have streaming issues for some users that says, quote, "The Verizon network is crowded right now."
Ouch.
I feel like that's friendly. You know, it's not accusatory. Verizon doesn't like it, though. Verizon General Counsel Randall Milch wrote in a letter to Netflix General Counsel David Hyman that Verizon wants Netflix to immediately stop showing the message, as well as provide a list of customers to whom the message had been shown, or else. And the else is Verizon may pursue legal remedies. Netflix spokesman Jonathan Friedland said, quote, "We are trying to provide more transparency, just like we do with the ISP Speed Index, and Verizon is trying to shut down the discussion."
Yeah, man, lawyer to lawyer, lawyer on lawyer action.
Boom.
Reuters reports Barnes & Noble will develop a tablet with Samsung to boost ebook sales. The tablets would feature Barnes & Noble's Nook software, and a 7-inch version of the Samsung Galaxy Tab for Nook is set for an early August launch in the U.S. Barnes & Noble will continue to offer its Nook Glow Light ebook reader as well.
The Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 Nook.
That's a great name.
Good name.
Not.
Here's what Amazon's doing right now, though. The Next Web reports on Amazon launching a page where anybody can be asked to be invited to a June 18th event in Seattle, where Amazon will announce something that makes people in their promotional video say "whoa" a lot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rumors have abounded that Amazon's developing a smartphone with a 3D interface, which might make even paid actors convincingly say whoa. If you would like to test out whether this announcement will make you say whoa, you can sign up for an invite at amazon.com/OC/launch event.
I'm sad it's really not amazon.com/OC/whoa.
Whoa. 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 That's impressive. Whoa. Time for some news from Whoa, you. These are things submitted at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And we love getting these, so get in there and vote at the very least. Let us know what stuff you want to hear us talk about. Our top story in this subreddit was a Slashdot post submitted by Kylde, who's also the guy that keeps that place spam-free. Thank you, Kylde. He was pointing to a motherboard article inside of that Slashdot post that details the ways fiber have been built out in many places in the U.S. and then blocked from use by telecoms who are trying to protect their profit margins. The articles cover a range of situations, usually involving city governments granting contracts to companies like Comcast, Time Warner Cable, CenturyLink, and Verizon to build out the fiber networks in exchange for agreeing to terms like not allowing any other entities to use them, which often means nobody but the city government actually has fiber in some cities.
So does that mean that if you have that service, if you use, for example, Time Warner Cable, do you get to access that fiber?
No. No, that's the weird thing about it. They're like, we'll build the fiber. You know, the city pays for us to build the fiber, but we won't agree to allow anyone to use it, and we don't have to offer the service yet because we don't want to spend the money to roll it to the curb.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. daddn sent us the Forbes article that passes along info from 9to5Mac, whose sources say Apple submitted specs to its licensing partners, the licensing. For headphones that use a lightning connector instead of the headphone jack. This is crazy. The advantage would be digital audio and more options for headphones to control apps. The downside would be if Apple used the ability to get rid of the headphone jack in future devices. Current devices would need a firmware update to enable the functionality if it ends up to be true.
I actually don't mind them adding the option for this because you could do some cool things if you had access to the lightning connector, but I don't want them to get rid of the headphone jack, please.
I mean, you could definitely have the option of much more, higher sound quality, for sure. But at the same time, well, I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more later. Does this come back? No, this is it. Okay, so yeah, that's. I mean, that means it makes more sense for Beats. Like now that they have Beats, they can have basically a whole line of headphones that can use this technology going forward in a lot of different variants. But at the same time, if you have something like Ultimate Ears or you've paid a lot of money for a different kind of headphones, you'll have to use some kind of adapter probably, like the kinds of adapters we use for Lightning versus 30-pin adapters on our phones if you have an older device. So it's really cornering the market there, and they will make a lot of money on that for sure if that turns out to be true. Anyway, right?
So don't take away the headphone jack, for goodness sake.
And it's not like it's extremely in the way of anything.
I guess it could make it thinner if you didn't have to have that assembly in there. I mean, it could. I'll give them that. True. All right. Techie Noob sent us the TechCrunch story about an Easter egg discovered in Google's end-to-end encryption extension. Zen Albatross discovered it. A comment that reads, quote, SSL added and removed here, followed by a winky, shows up in the code. It's a reference to the same phrase showing up in a leaked NSA document that illustrated how the NSA was able to spy on encrypted traffic from Google. And which is one of the reasons Google is doing this end-to-end encryption in the first place.
All right, here I go. habichuelacondulce submitted the Reuters story citing a person who says Sprint has agreed to acquire T-Mobile for around $32 billion. The deal is not final, according to the source, as both sides have to do due diligence and arrange financing. Deutsche Telekom owns 67% of T-Mobile, while SoftBank owns the majority of Sprint. The deal would also require regulatory approval, of course. AT&T sought to acquire T-Mobile 3 years ago, but it was blocked by the U.S. Department of Justice.
And Masayoshi Son of SoftBank has been on a campaign to show how Sprint acquiring T-Mobile would be a good thing for the United States. So he's been really buttering up the regulatory officials. Remember, they didn't want AT&T and T-Mobile to merge because it would take away a competitor, but Sprint and T-Mobile are the two bottom competitors. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. If you had to lay odds, what do you think?
Well, it sounds, that would be potentially enough to keep T-Mobile alive, would be the argument that they could be making here. So I mean, I think it sounds like a better deal. Having Sprint and T-Mobile together sounds potentially more fair than perhaps AT&T purchasing them.
I don't like losing a competitor, but I do see them saying like, hey, one of these, maybe even Sprint, might go out of business. Mm-hmm. T-Mobile seems to be at least agile enough to keep going. But the thing to remember is they don't have wireline. They don't have cable television. They don't have any of these other things that AT&T and Verizon have that supplement the bottom line, which if SoftBank owns both of them, they're promising we'll get into those businesses, which then again, I don't know if I want them to. I don't know.
Yeah, give them a fighting chance.
It's weird. Finally, BluntHeadTrauma posted the ZDNet article about a fix to OpenSSL for a potential man-in-the-middle attack. You're going to see a lot of headlines comparing this to Heartbleed. It's very different. Unlike Heartbleed, which pretty much affected every server running OpenSSL, the attacker would need to control a network connection to exploit the vulnerability, and non-OpenSSL clients being used by us, things like IE, Firefox, Chrome on the desktop, iOS, and Safari, aren't affected. So all OpenSSL installations should be upgraded in any case, but this is not nearly as bad of a vulnerability as Heartbleed.
Phew.
And that is a look at the headlines. Hey, Veronica, the Sword and Laser anthology is out. Did you know that? Yes, you did.
I did, yes. Oh, look, you have a copy. How wonderful.
How convenient.
I also have a copy. Here you go.
Hey, look at that. You do too. If you haven't heard us talk about this, 10 science fiction stories, 10 fantasy stories solicited from our audience. They're amazing stories all together in this one book. It's available as an ebook or a print book at swordandlaser.com/store. And amazing cover art by Cliff Nielsen, too.
And a forward introduction by Patrick Rothfuss.
Yeah. We're getting some decent reviews, too, which we can't take credit for other than picking amazing people to be in it. But the amazing people wrote amazing stories that you won't know about unless you read it.
It's pretty fantastic. I think it runs the gamut of genre fiction. There's a little something in there for everyone.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of the reviews I've seen on people's blogs, they're like, I didn't like every story in here, but I found these that I love, right?
And that's kind of how I feel about almost every anthology I've ever read.
Right.
So, that's kind of what an anthology is all about. I mean, it's like having a buffet and getting to pick all the things you like and maybe not reading or eating all of the stories. I'm getting lost in my metaphor.
Eat the stories.
Eat the stories. They're delicious.
They are delicious. You can dine on them at swordandlaser.com/store. All right, let's talk a little bit about Phil Spencer going back on another Microsoft fiat. Remember, he took over a couple months ago, right? Like 3 months ago now, of the Xbox department of Microsoft. And he's just been flipping things over right and left. Like, don't need to subscribe to Xbox Live Gold to get Netflix anymore. No problem. We're going to change all this stuff. And the latest is that he posted on Twitter, the June Xbox One software dev kit gives devs access to more graphic processor bandwidth, GPU bandwidth, more performance, new tools, and flexibility to make games better. Microsoft confirmed to Eurogamer that this is because they took away the system resources that were reserved for the Kinect, giving the GPU an additional 10% performance available for developers. Extra GPU can only be accessed by developers, so it's not like unplugging your Kinect is going to
make things run faster.
It's going to make things run faster, but developers can use that June SDK to update their current games, or definitely use that processing for future games.
Yeah, there was a lot of news this week about Xbox, especially E3, like on the horizon.
Monday morning, I think, is their big announcement, right?
Yeah, they've got their big press conference then, but they've also, announced a ton of new apps that are coming to Xbox Live, which is great. Some things that were only available to Gold members now being available to people who don't have Gold accounts, and also the drivers, as we mentioned earlier, for the controller to be able to use that on your PC, which I think is great for gamers.
It was really nice. I tried it out on Tomb Raider earlier.
So the only thing is, it has to. You need to download the drivers. It's not going to work for Mac. It's PC drivers only right now, as far as I know. And also, It only works on games that have gamepad functionality built into them. So
there's a good Wikipedia article out there. If you just put Xbox controller PC games, you'll find
compatibility.
It. Yeah, and it lists everything, and anything that is Xbox 360 controller compatible will also be Xbox One compatible.
Right. Yeah. So if you're already using an Xbox 360 controller, you should be able to have no issue with using the One controller. And it's a much nicer controller, so that's really great too. I vastly prefer it over the previous iterations. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I was going to go do the update today. Actually, I just got back from Orlando, so I've got a lot to get to this afternoon.
And if you want to get it now, it will come in a Windows update on its own in the future. We don't know exactly when. But if you want to get it now, you go to majordelson.com, you get it from him. And when you install it, you're going to get the Windows screen functionality pop up and go, we don't know where this is from, or we're not going to let you do this. You have to click more info, and then it gives you a button that says, go ahead and do it anyway, or something. I don't remember what the exact text is, but you say, yes, go ahead and do it anyway, trusting that Major Nelson is not giving you a piece of spyware for his empire, and then it'll work.
I like to think that Major Nelson is running some kind of
devious,
having people install malware on their system so he can turn their PCs into zombies, and that's how he makes his millions.
Damn you, Larry. No, I'm trusting of this particular source, but you may not. So just fair warning. And get the right one. You need the x86 if you're running 32-bit, or you need the 64 if you're running 64-bit. You can install them both; it won't hurt anything, but only one of them will actually work for you.
Did you see this list of apps that are coming to Xbox One and 360?
Yeah, we mentioned it briefly, but we didn't go through all of them. Are there ones that you're particularly excited? Because everybody talks about HBO Go being on there and Twitter being on there, but what other ones have got you?
I'm surprised. So they didn't have a Twitter app before? I could have sworn they did. Am I just
on
crazy?
Xbox 360 they had one, and then they took it away, I think.
Yeah, they did that with a few different apps, if I recall correctly. Stars is interesting. I will watch shows on Stars. I like the pirate show, Black Flags. Is that the name of the show?
I don't watch any Stars. I haven't watched anything on Stars since Torchwood.
Was that on Stars?
It was the last season of Torchwood. They did
Someone's calling my house.
They did a special episode. It's probably Stars calling to thank you for watching them.
I'll put myself on mute so you don't have to hear the phone ringing for a second. You can move on to the next subject.
Oh, well, we're just having a discussion here, so
okay, I'll be off mute then.
I'll go ahead and move us on to that Twitch study then, if you want.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because this is interesting. Twitch commissioned a study. So you remember that Twitch, the place that streams video games, commissioned this study, but they wanted to challenge gamer stereotypes. So they got a company called Life Course Associates, which does this kind of research, to survey 1,227 people in the U.S. between the ages of 13 and 64, and they, statistical weighting and all that sort of things for a survey. They found, among many other things, that 57% of gamers say that friends are the most important thing in their lives, compared to 35% of non-gamers.
Well, they got confused. They thought they meant their friends list.
Or they meant my friends, the game characters. No, I think they meant actual human beings. 79% of gamers say that they have a good relationship with their families, in contrast to only 63% of non-gamers.
That's interesting.
Because they don't bug their family. They go and they do their thing.
They're in their lady lair, their man cave, playing away. Okay.
Yeah. 67% of gamers said they were very positive or positive about the outcome of their lives, while only 42% of non-gamers said the same thing.
That is, it's like, This does seem a little biased because it is a gaming related company doing doing research on gamers, and obviously they want the study to have put a positive spin on the lives of gamers that is only beneficial to them. But at the same time, like I do find this a little bit surprising. I want to have the best. I want to assume the best of my brethren, but I just feel like that those are pretty big differences in the numbers. And where are they getting the non-gamer surveys from? Also,
well, they're just surveying people and saying, do you play games or not? Right.
Okay.
So all of the things that normally apply to any survey are true, which is like you have to trust that they properly weighted it and all of that. And you're relying on self-reporting, which is people saying whether they play video games or not is not the same as whether they actually play video games or not, right? But it's probably mostly true.
Well, it's not a huge segment of people either. It's only about 1,200 people. That's a pretty, I would say that's a relatively small segment to have surveyed. But
It depends. I mean, if you select your sample correctly, it could be perfectly fine.
It's also persons 13 to 64. That's a really big age range.
Well, see, now we're just talking about surveys. And people who've never actually studied survey methodology love to pick apart surveys on stuff like that because they're like, how could that possibly be representative? People who work in the industry know, like, yes, you can get a fairly good, within a margin of error, representation if it's done right. So you can decide whether you want to trust that Life Course Associates did it right or not. That's perfectly fair. But within the realm of a margin of error, I'll buy it. I'll say, okay, that's probably fair. I wonder if there's other explanations for why people said things the way they said them, though.
Yeah, I'd be really interested in the big gaming segment of being like 18 to 34. Although, I think that's kind of shifted. I think there's older, people of an older generation are involved in gaming a lot more than perhaps they used to be. Anyway, I'd like to look at other surveys.
Another alternate explanation could be that people who play video games are more likely to lie about how much they feel confident about their future success or how much they love their family out of some sense of guilt over how much they play video games. I'm not saying that's true, but that's the kind of thing that is more likely to undermine a survey like this.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about surveys. And I find this interesting. And
I think you totally nailed it, which is more surveys should be done, right? Like, let's see if these results can be replicated in other surveys by other entities. But it is kind of fair, finally, after all of these weighted surveys that are put out by people who hate video games, like showing like the horrible effects of video games, to have one horribly slanted the other direction.
That's true. It is a nice change.
It's kind of cathartic.
All right, I'll take that.
Let's take a look at the calendar. Tomorrow is Friday, June 6th, and the Asus Modular Padphone X finally comes to AT&T for $199. Also, fans of Netflix's Orange is the New Black get their entire season 2, so you will not see them all day tomorrow or the next day.
That's tomorrow?
Yep.
That's so exciting. Also, it was Black Sails, not Black Flag. Black Flag was the Assassin's Creed game.
Okay, good.
Pirates.
Don't send the emails.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yay. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I know. Did you see the person who did an Arrested Development like opening for Orange is the New Black?
No, I didn't see that.
Where they like use the voice, a similar type voiceover in the music and stuff.
That's great.
Her name's Piper. Jenny's pick of the day today is Mint.com. Actually, I believe, Veronica, you introduced me to Mint.com.
All right.
I don't use it, though. Maybe
Why?
I should. This online budgeting service is simple and easy to set up and use, says Jenny. It reminds you about upcoming bills. It reminds you, it warns you when you've gone over your budget in a particular category, provides suggestions on ways to save money. And it's not meant to be full-fledged accounting software like Quicken, but it is an excellent day-to-day reality check on just how much you're spending. Also free. You can check it out at mint.com. It is owned by Intuit now.
Yeah, I've been using Mint for many, many, many years. And what I like is that you can see all of the balances, see all the transactions across multiple accounts, across credit cards, loans you've taken out. anything you have in investments. So it pretty much runs the gamut of every type of financial system you could be tapped into. And it's secure as well. It's not storing any of your passwords. So you don't have to worry if someone gets into your Mint account, they can't affect any change on any of your other accounts that you're associating with it.
So where are the passwords stored?
Well, I mean, okay, so you would have to validate, you have to go through the process of bringing those accounts into the system. But what more that I mean is that if someone gets in, they can't affect any of your other accounts.
Gotcha.
So it's as secure as any system is, and plus, since it's owned by Intuit, I think they have a lot of extra security features in place.
I don't use Mint because I started using Quicken for Windows 98 in 1998.
Okay.
Actually, I think I might have been using Quicken for Windows 95 because I think I started using it in 97. But anyway, I have now how many years of history of financial records, and I'm just like, well, even though I'm using Quicken Essentials now, I've always been able to migrate it to the new thing. And so I'm just an old man stuck in his ways. Don't be like me.
Old man merit.
Use Mint. It's our pick of the day. And our message of the day comes from Mike, who writes in, I want to start off by saying I enjoy the show and love the format. You fill my car ride with entertainment every day. That's very nice. I wanted to point out the new features in iOS 8 will definitely affect my car ride. Case in point, both yourself and Ayaz, in discussing WWDC, made note of the new Hey Siri feature in iOS 8. You say Hey Siri and Siri launches and listens to you. As a person who has a developer account, I've been testing iOS 8 since it was released. I did not get to Monday's episode, though, until Wednesday, as I often fall a little bit behind. And lo and behold, every time, and I hope it's not happening to you right now, every time you said, Hey, Siri, I'm going to try to obviate it. The show stopped playing and Siri took over while I was driving. While it is great to know that the feature works, it was definitely something unexpected. Hopefully they can build some awareness into the feature in the future. This problem is similar to something I heard of when the Xbox One came out and people playing games like Call of Duty try to get others to say Xbox off to affect the other players while playing.
I like how you paused there. Do you think a lot of people are listening over their Xbox right now?
Well, when that feature first launched, I remember people saying, when you said Xbox do this, the Xbox voice recognition.
It might wake up your Xbox. That's true. I think an easy fix for that is that they just have vocal recognition. So it would be able to tell. You kind of do it the way you do with Drag and Dictate or other speech to text pieces of software where it learns your voice, it learns your speech patterns. So if you tried to activate Siri on someone else's phone, it would be like, you're not Tom. Who? What? No, I'm not answering you. Quick fix that.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I want to throw this in at the last minute because I had a nice little back and forth with Chris in Toronto. Because of our viewer pick of the day from yesterday, which was about how to do the proximity sensing in Android. It was the pick was the AirDroid at airdroid.com. And Chris pointed out that we said that you needed to have a Wi-Fi network. However, you can also use it over your cellular network functionality by tethering, it looks like. So if you go to airdroid.com, you might not have to be on the total Wi-Fi network. You can actually tether your Android, but then you will be using your data connection on your phone, so you have to be aware of that. But it can work that way, not just on the Wi-Fi. So thank you, Chris, for the clarification. He actually sent me a couple of screenshots because I'm like, I'm not seeing where this is happening. So it was really helpful to get that. We appreciate it when good-natured people honestly help us clarify issues like this. We got a bunch from the truckers the other day. Now we got Chris in Toronto. It's really, really cool, really fun. So thank you. And keep them coming. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. That is it for our show. Veronica Belmont, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
What other shows do you do that have amazing co-hosts?
Oh, I do this one show, Sword and Laser. The co-host is such a pain in the butt, but I've known him for so long. I just keep, we keep chugging along. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Sword and
just can't get
Laser
rid of him. Follows you
with
around.
my co-host Tom, the wonderful Tom Merritt. We're having a blast. We got Tom did some great work while I was away in China, getting interviews with Josh Lawrence at the Nebulas and at Baycon. Got some great people like Samuel R. Delaney, for example. Chip, good old Chip.
I couldn't bring myself to call him Chip Delaney.
I don't think I could have done it either.
No.
But some great classic people from the science fiction and fantasy world, some new authors as well.
Are we posting David Weber today?
I will do my best.
Okay,
yes.
so but this soon, coming soon.
Coming soon.
It's almost ready to go. So probably by next Tuesday
tonight.
anyway.
It'll definitely be up by tonight. I'll do it
by tonight or tomorrow. Okay, it's my interview with David Weber from Baycon. Will be up as well. So check it out. Anyway, if you're into science fiction and fantasy books, and you need some ideas, check it out. swordandlaser.com. It's really fun doing that. Follow Veronica on Twitter, too, because she does Let's Play videos. She does a book club with Bonnie Burton, Felicia Day, and
Kylde
Caseby. I was trying to remember Caseby on Vaginal Fantasy on the Geek and Sundry Network. You can get all of her Twitters at twitter.com/Veronica.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for being on, and thank you to our patrons for making it possible to do the show every day. 4,069 patrons actually make this show possible, and you are the best in the world. Thank you for seeing value in the show. We really, really, really appreciate it. Keep it coming. Let your friends know. bit.ly/helpdtns. We've got some plans in the works, and hopefully they're going to come to fruition soon. Don't forget, you can have a voice in what stories we cover. Even if you can't afford the patron, that's fine. Go to the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Email us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Give us a call, leave us a voicemail, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. And listen to the show live at mobile.alphageekradio.com every day, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. And our website's dailytechnewsshow.com. Darren Kitchen, Len Peralta, and Eck are with us tomorrow. See you then.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Done.
All right, I got to hit the road, Jack.
Hit the road, Jack. And please come back. Sometime.
No, some eventually. Yes.
Good luck with the house.
Shh, super secrets. All right. Yay, bye. See you guys later. Thanks. Bye.
Ah, there we go. Sorry about that.
Hello.
I was having fat finger on my mouse.
That sounds like a great beer and something else.
Fat finger on my mouse. Is it a stout?
Fat Finger would be like a red ale, like a red beer of some kind.
On the house.
Yeah.
Not the mouse.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing about statistics.
Yes.
Which is that I think that having a broader age group is actually great. And here is why. Because gaming is one of those things that, like, didn't totally exist a whole lot prior to, say, you and me and our growing up. But afterwards, it will continue to be a part of the lives of people who grew up gaming. Mm-hmm. So, like, the more of an age spectrum you have, the more you can chart, like, say, 45 to 50-year-olds are actually the perfect group of people to chart to see if they're still gaming and what their lives are, because they are the ones that started. And then you can presume that a representative set of every other generation is going to be lifelong gamers. Their games may shift. They may not always be playing, time-heavy World of Warcraft or whatever, but that's a habit, and that's a fascinating thing to track over generations.
Yeah, it's a really interesting data set to be able to look at. You're absolutely right. I mean, the main reason you want to do a wide range is because of things like that. Yep, like, I want to be able to capture all the data, because if you limit it to 18 to 34, your study can only say young people do this, right?
Right.
So you want to be able to capture as much data as possible.
And also, frankly, 18 to 34, some of those people have money. Most of them, like, I'll never understand advertisers' obsession with 18 to 34 when, like, people don't get a ton of money per se until they're, like, maybe a little bit older. I don't know.
Because the disposable, somebody explained this to me at Tech TV once. The disposable income's better. He's like, you know what the 34 ups are going to spend their money on.
Kids, theoretically.
You want car advertisements for those people.
Yeah.
And they're spending a lot of money on kids.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I think the definition of friendship changes from what people who were from non-gaming generations or non-digital even. Non-digital. It's like, talk to your chat room. They have friendships, very strong bond, work friendships with people they don't ever see except for once a year.
You bring up an interesting meta-analysis I would like to see done on their data set, which is, as you rightly pointed out, gaming increases the younger the demo, right? The older people in the demo are going to game less, especially the ones who grew up without video games. Is this study merely showing that younger people are more optimistic?
Right.
You know, if you break out the data that way, if you like take the age out of it and be like, all right, let's get rid of all of the old people, you know, do those differences disappear? That'd be interesting to know.
I wonder if optimism, here's the thing, I wonder if optimism is equally spread across generations because, yeah, sure, maybe some young people are more optimistic, but I feel like sometimes younger people are more pessimistic because they don't have a range of experience to show them that sometimes everything just works out. So I wonder if that just evens out across the data set. Like, I've seen some pretty optimistic 70-year-old people because they're like, yeah, I pretty much survived, you know, some world wars and some things, and things turn out okay.
Well, yeah, you're talking anecdotally.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I want to see the numbers because you might be right.
Yeah.
But I would like to see that broken out.
Yeah, agree. I love data and statistics. And surveys. I love surveys.
Survey says.
Title is. Survey says. Titles is. What else? Oh,
yeah, what's that title? What's that title? Come on.
I'm not hearing any titles.
Give me some titles, chat room.
All the titles yesterday.
What's happening, chat room?
You know you're a title ninja when you have titles on the not obvious days. That's when you're a title ninja.
This is where you prove your skills.
This is where you prove your mettle. METTLE.
Not just Metal Freak, but everyone.
Yeah.
Can prove their mettle.
Okay.
Metal Freak proves his mettle every day. Hey, Xbox.
Yeah. Hey, Xbox. Oh, no, we're still saying it. Oh, no, he's serious. But...
Someone watching YouTube on their Xbox right now hates us.
Yeah. Xbox on.
No.
I was trying to turn on the thing we just turned off.
Xbox, go home.
Yeah. Xbox, do a little dance.
All right, that's it. Survey says buffering. Bandwidth shame.
Oh. The bandwidth shame game?
Title, whoa.
Survey says friendship is magic.
Oh no, Jackie Hearn. I was like, whoa. Amazon,
yeah,
whoa. We could do Amazon, whoa, to get a little, you know.
Yeah. A little SEO.
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 I think the UPS guy just came.
Hi, UPS guy. Do you need to go get...
All of a sudden, I heard both dogs scrambling and running. So either that or someone broke in upstairs.
Well, you'll find out.
I'll find out soon.
Do you have time to have a weekly Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I have things things and stuff.
Oh, good. I like things. And I also like stuff.
Yep.
All right. Django just laid back down. I think it's fine. Interpretation of dog sounds. Dogecoin.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
Imagine there's a chat room.
I watched Night Attack last night.
Yes.
It was very funny.
That's why that song's in my head.
A lot. You didn't say a lot, though. You were kind of just like, you nodded sagely through most of it, but did not speak as much as you have on past Night Attacks.
Is that true?
You were a little quiet, at least in like the first half hour. I mean, there was a lot of music being played, so I can understand how you wouldn't.
Yeah, I didn't have much to say. I mean, what do you add, right?
Yeah, right.
The music speaks for itself.
Fair point. Fair point. But yeah, I'm not used to Tom being the silent nodder. That's usually my bag.
Yeah, that's my. I like to respect the hosts, especially on that show, because those guys know what they're doing.
They have a rhythm.
Yeah.
Or an absence of rhythm that creates a rhythm. It's probably more accurate.
That was Zen.
Yeah.
It is the absence of rhythm that creates the rhythm.
I played those for Matt. He thought they were very funny.
Oh, the songs.
Those songs. He liked them a lot. I liked them a lot. I just no preface. I didn't say anything. I just played them, and they went over quite well. There's someone named Hal9000 who just wrote, "Is that you, Dave?" And it really freaked me out.
Oh, did you see the Archer? Well, it's not Archer. It's H. John Benjamin. I don't know where it was. It sounds like it was at a conference or something where they basically had H. John Benjamin voice Hal. And so it's the Archer voice, right?
Right.
And it's hilarious.
It's pretty awesome. Let's see, what else is going on in the world? Title, absence of rhythm. We're past the titling point.
Yeah, you can't make a title based on the post show either, because the audio listeners are not
won't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tech
hey,
June
what about
5th.
Breaking movie draft news from a couple days ago that we haven't gotten to discuss yet?
Which is?
The pushing of Jupiter Ascending to, like, out of the thing. So do we know, has anyone given God's Moneybags a new movie yet?
I don't know. Go look at draft.9attack.
I didn't see one as of
TV.
Haven't seen one as of yesterday.
Okay. Dan Dirks is in charge. He's the commissioner.
Right. Where is it? Movie draft. Because you know what that does? That does something so interesting. Because like I don't know another tentpole that could theoretically compensate, right? So that also takes How to Train Your Dragon out of contention as a contender.
Why?
God's Moneybags has Jupiter Ascending and...
But was Jupiter Ascending going to make that much?
It could have on marketing made $100 million, maybe. That was an if. That was a strong if. I wouldn't say so. But that just leaves How to Train Your Dragon. It could make $300 million and not make a difference.
Yeah, it depends on what they get replacing it.
Right. But like things that are out there are like Jersey Boys. And I'm not even sure that's in the window.
Because Brian got a replacement one year that just did gangbusters for him.
Right. I mean, there's no, that I can tell, the only thing that would be comparable would be a horror, another horror movie. There are movies out there, but they're such small independent movies. Like there's Let's Be Cops, which we saw a trailer for, but I don't know if they fall in the window. So that'll be really interesting. I didn't
think Jupiter Ascending was supposed to do that well. That's why I wasn't really all that.
Yeah, but it could have made $60 million and then like helped.
Sure. Yeah.
$60 million
so the question is, what is the value above replacement?
Yeah.
Of their incoming movie?
Yeah. So I'm eagerly anticipating this new factor. Oh, Ted.
Oh, it's Ted, Beatmaster. Yes, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
That was crazy.
That would be upsetting to me.
The
If they got
Ted
a
incident.
And A Million Ways to Die in the West tanked, which was, I liked it as a movie. We were surprisingly fond of it.
That is the lesson of the movie draft right there.
Yeah.
Liking or quality of a movie has no bearing on its performance in the movie draft.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see.
Is it Whoa with an H?
WHOA.
Not WHOAH?
No. Well, it's definitely not with an H in popular culture. Like Bill and Ted's Whoa has no H. So if you go by the Bill and Ted dictionary, which is very slim,
Seems kind of even as far as search results go. Neither one has an advantage. All right.
it's definitely not Whoa. In fact, WOAH. I can confirm.
Right. Okay. That's like probably some kind of governmental agency.
Yeah. The World Overbite Authorization.
Actually, no. Urban Dictionary has Whoa, as does Slate.com.
It's WOAH.
In a headline, WOAH.
I don't believe it.
Oh,
I'm looking at
but I didn't read far enough.
Uh-huh.
It's Whoa, why are you spelling it that way is the name of the article.
Well, let me just say, woe to you, woe unto you for trusting the Urban Dictionary, which is spelled differently.
It's an entire article on Slate about how you should spell whoa.
Well, woe unto them. What else have I got?
It dates back to at least the early 17th century.
Yep.
It was mostly used in shouted form.
Whoa!
Around the mid-1800s, people began using whoa to halt forward-moving horses.
Oh, right.
And by the latter half of the 20th century, it had morphed into an expression of conveying alarm. So whoa was originally like hey, and then it became whoa for horses. Interesting. Merriam-Webster says it's WHOA, not WOAH.
Right. Merriam-Webster, I trust. Toby Pinder. I'm not going to repeat it, but well played. That's good.
All right. Well, I'm going to put the H at the end because I already did it.
Sure, you can go archaic. That's okay.
It's not archaic.
Somebody really spells it that way?
Yeah.
Oh, this ought to be interesting. HBO developing Margaret Atwood's sci-fi series with Darren Aronofsky.
Oh, nice.
Oryx and Crake.
Oryx and Crake, yeah.
Oh, actually, the trilogy.
Mad Adam just came out.
Yeah. So they're going to take all three of them and make it a series.
Interesting.
Or, if I might be so bold, a totally incomprehensible series from Darren Aronofsky.
Well, Margaret Atwood's not all that accessible to some people.
Yeah, no.
So
Ought to be really
seems like
good.
a match made in heaven.
Match made in obscurity heaven.
A match made in obscure illusion.
The next John from Cincinnati will be Mad Adam on HBO.
I am out of the post.
Ooh, I'm going to go into the post. Here I go.
Into the post with you.
Into the
post.
post.
Whoa, into the post. Get into the post.
Whoa. Whoa there.
If you want to enjoy things, here's a sneak peek at tomorrow's.
You can. Oh, I bet I know who did that one. I'm going to take a bet and say that we're going to be hearing a pre-show Patreon plug from Toby Pinder.
I don't think it's Toby.
What?
Unless I wrote it wrong in the
It's not Toby
title.
Pinder?
It's Chef Cat.
How do we know?
You can help support the Daily Tech News Show by...
Tell me that's not Toby Pinder. Am I being Anglophile-ist?
It's not what I wrote. That's all I can say.
Well,
I only
30
deal in
seconds
facts,
from now,
Jenny. I only deal in facts.
30 seconds from now, Toby Pinder will tell me if I'm being an Angloist. See, it is him.
It says Chef Cat.
Hold on. Oh, no, it's not. He should do one, though.
Totally should do one, though. Just
All
right
right.
about that.
Well, all English people sound alike, I said.
Let me just say, I can't keep you people straight.
The Daily Tech News Show
Voice-wise.
does not discriminate on the basis of whether you sound like you're from Manchester or somewhere else.
We totally do. We so discriminate.
Yeah. Your writing for Broadcast Tom suggests that you are a bit of an Anglophile. Is this true?
Molly would be cackling, as would Veronica right
Really?
now, to hear you say that, but yes.
You have a very British way of writing humor.
Do you mean more than just the fact that I spell realize with an S?
Yeah,
sometimes?
well, I always thought those were copy-paste things, but yeah, I think that like you structure and then the joke that's delivered at the end of the ones with the jokes, it's very British.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me putting on airs by spelling gray with an E. That's unintentional.
No, this is like a really embedded consciousness of reading, I think, a lot of things.
I grew up
such.
reading mostly English authors. And
Yep.
that's
Totally tell.
That's why I tended to want to spell things with S's and E's and stuff anyway, whether it's an affectation or not.
Well, the Z is such a harsh... Yeah, but I'm not talking about the spelling. I'm talking about structure. I'm talking about structure of writing and joke delivery. The joke delivery is very British humor.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Douglas Adams.
Yep.
Arthur Conan Doyle. Jane Austen.
Yeah. Jane Austen, man, you can't get more sophisticated.
Hilarious, right?
Hilarious. No, but the humor is there.
It is. There is. You're right. You're right.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Watched a lot of Monty Python.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Aluminium.
Well, peg that one.
All right, folks. We got to go chat about
have a meeting.
things. So have a good day. And
Bye.
we love you.